In this bulletin, OEMs and the aftermarket urged to meet in Las Vegas to resolve infringement issues that divide the imaging supplies industry. Hello, I'm David Gibbons. It's no secret that competition is rife in the global imaging supplies industry, not only between the original printer manufacturers, or OEMs, but between the OEMs and the aftermarket as well. Scores of lawsuits are before the courts right now over the issue of patent infringement. The Imaging Supplies Coalition sees merit in getting the various players together to confront some of the hot issues. This means lawyers, marketers, brand strategists and leaders representing both the OEMs as well as the aftermarket will be involved. The Imaging Supplies Coalition has Canon, HP, Lexmark, Epson, Brother and Xerox already on board for a conference in Las Vegas this September. And the president of the Imaging Supplies Coalition pulling all this together is a former Lexmark executive, Alan Westerfield. And Alan joins me from Florida, USA. Greetings, Alan.
Hello, David. It's great to talk to you. As I say, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
You're welcome. The ISC is a coalition of printer OEMs, yet they're all fierce competitors with each other in the same marketplace. So what makes this coalition work?
That's a great question, David. I'm asked it very often. I think what makes the coalition work is that even though these great companies that are members of the coalition are competitors, they all have one very intense common interest, and that's to clean our industry or mitigate the amount of counterfeiting and intellectual property infringement that goes on in our industry. It's a common problem among all these companies, and they work very hard to be successful in that effort. We must be doing something right because the coalition has been around now. It'll be 25 years in 2019. I think the common interest is one thing that keeps us together. I think the second is we have a very strict code of ethics and bylaws that basically say the only thing we can work on are intellectual property issues. That's it. Nothing else is ever discussed or talked about. But most importantly is the quality of the people that are on our board. Each of the companies puts a very, very capable representatives on our board of directors, and they work together to accomplish the end objectives of the coalition. So there are really three things: the common interests, the structure of the coalition and its bylaws, and the composition of the board and the people that are on it that make the coalition work and has been effective for these past almost 25 years.
Now, one of the charters of the coalition is the running of a conference in Las Vegas on September 12 to 14. Why are you encouraging all industry players, not just the OEM competitors, but the aftermarket also to participate?
We think that the problem of intellectual property infringement affects all participants in the market. It affects the OEMs, it affects the remanufacturers, it affects the channel, and it affects the end users. So when we have a conference to discuss those problems, it's only right that everybody get to participate and learn from one another. And I think our conference is the only one like that in the industry, where we do bring together all the participants to discuss and work on the solutions to a common problem, that problem being intellectual property infringement.
So what, Alan, are the hot topics your conference will address specifically come September?
Well, I think there are several, and the theme of our conference this year is the impact of technology change. And our industry is changing very, very rapidly, both from a product point of view, from an intellectual property point of view, from a channel point of view, from really all aspects. And all those changes affect our ability to defend and protect intellectual property. So I think one of the most important issues to me is the legal environment, and how has the legal environment either kept up with or not kept up with our ability to protect our intellectual property. I think another key area to discuss are the changes basically in the channel what's going on in the delivery of our products to the end user, and how does that affect our ability to protect our consumer from intellectual property issues. So those are two of the, I think, or three of the major issues that we're going to be talking about: technology change, the legal environment, and the changes in our ability to deliver products to customers in a safe and efficient manner.
Okay. One of the topics that caught my attention, Alan, given all the recent litigation, will be what constitutes permissible repair. Now, this is a very confrontational topic and yet a very necessary topic for OEMs and the legitimate aftermarket to address. So what are your expectations?
I think my expectations are that people will really have an understanding of what the concept of permissible repair is and what are the ramifications that doctrine has on both the OEMs and the aftermarket. And I think it's going to be a topic that's going to be debated and discussed for a long time, and probably will ultimately be decided in a lot of discussions and possibly even in our courts. But that basically is, let's understand the various aspects of the problem. What is it, and how is it going to affect the various players in our industry? I don't think we'll solve the problem, in other words, Dave. But we will learn about the concept and how it affects everyone, and I think that's quite important.
Yeah, I agree. So tell me, why do you believe your lineup of speakers provides a must-attend benefit to all the delegates?
We have a lineup of speakers basically that range from industry analysts that basically will give a wonderful overview of the industry, what's going on in it, how it's changing. We'll have a very excellent overview of technology change in general and how it's affecting the economies around the world. We'll have some case studies on how OEMs, in fact, are protecting their intellectual property and solving problems. And then we'll have several interesting discussions on the legal environment and what's going on there, one of which we just discussed. But beyond the lineup of speakers, which, as you know, is a jam-packed agenda with 13 different presentations over a day and a half, the ability to network and meet people across various aspects and at various parts of the industry is also very, very important. The other thing that's important is we have a wonderful group of exhibitors and sponsors that are going to demonstrate new technology, new investigative techniques, new processes, new procedures to protect intellectual property. And I think that's important for everybody to recognize that not only is this a conference, it's a very small but very focused trade show. And then lastly, we have a pretty good time. We have a great reception and a great formal dinner and adequate time for all the participants to meet, participate, and discuss the problems that we all face together.
So what impact is counterfeiting and fraud still having on the global printing supplies chain? I mean, to what extent will this summit address this problem?
Well, the problem is still a significant issue, more so in some parts of the world than others. But we still think it's about a 3 to 5% problem globally. It's very hard to measure and estimate. But the problem will address really solutions on how to protect, how to detect, and manage the problem.
Thanks, Alan, for joining me today. I'll see you in September.
Okay, David, I appreciate it. I appreciate all your support. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing as many of our colleagues at the conference as possible. So I hope everyone can attend. I promise you'll enjoy the conference. You'll benefit from attending, and you'll probably even have a good time. So thank you very much.
We'll put the website address back on the screen for viewers so they can log on and register to attend. I've been speaking with Alan Westerfield from the Imaging Supplies Coalition about what promises to be a very confrontational and yet potentially constructive conference in Las Vegas on September 12 to 14. And for all the details of breaking news every day, go to rtmworld.com/2D or pick up a copy of our Imaging World magazine published in English, Spanish, Chinese, Russian, and now in Arabic. Thanks for keeping in touch with This Week Today. I'm David Gibbons.